Okay, okay. Okay, Erev Tov, everyone. So I came across a very, very interesting tshuva, Ba'ala Shel Torah, which is the short response of Rav Yaakov Ariel. Talks about a question related to Rosh Hashanah, a very common, prevalent case, which is, you have people who are unable to come to shul for Rosh Hashanah. They're at home, they're in hospital, wherever it is, and somebody has to go to blow shofar for them. We've discussed during the month of Elul that's not necessary. On Rosh Hashanah, that certainly is necessary when we have an obligation. Every year I get phone calls before Rosh Hashanah, Rabbi, can you arrange somebody to come to the house, come blow shofar, etc. So listen to this question. He says, the case is as follows. You have a person who asked the question has volunteered to go to a certain hospital, a large hospital, and go and blow shofar for everybody. Bear in mind, it could be that not everybody there ask necessarily for the shofar to be blown for them, but they have the mitzvah, maybe they don't know, and he's going to go and he's going to go around the machlakot and he's going to blow the shofar. They cannot come themselves to shul. Okay, the hospital itself instituted whatever it is that somebody's going to go around and blow the shofar. The hospital is interested. Sounds like one of the religious hospitals. They want the patients, the Jewish patients, certainly to hear the shofar. What's the problem? He doesn't have a lot of time. He's going to go. He has a few hours in the afternoon when he can go around to blow the shofar. You'll say, find more volunteers. Okay, they couldn't find more volunteers. So, we discussed last week how many kolot you need to hear. We said the minimum, the baseline requirement from the Torah is nowadays it's 30 kolot. Okay, you're certainly not going to go and blow 100. It's not during the tefillah. There's no need for that in any event. When you have an additional tkiyah for women or for those who weren't in the tefillah, you only do 30. There's no need to do 100 there. But he says if he's going to go around to every department, every ward in the hospital and blow the 30 kolot, he's not going to manage to get around everywhere. If he's going to cut it down to 9 or 10 in each ward, then maybe he can go and get to all the machlakot. So the question is, ma'adif, what is preferable? That he should start off and he should fulfill the mitzvah b'shleimut, right, as best as he can, do the 30 kolot, and if he doesn't get to everybody, he doesn't get to everybody. But what does that mean? It means some people will hear the shofar and they'll fulfill the mitzvah, and others will not. Or should he go around to all the patients in the hospital and then only blow 9 or 10? We discussed last week maybe what the value of 9 or 10 is as opposed to 30. So everyone's going to get to hear the shofar, but no one is going to fulfill it in the prior way. So what is better? That he should blow in a better way for more patients, or that he should, in a better way for less patients, or that he should do less, maybe a less complete fulfillment of the mitzvah, but for more people in the hospital. Okay, that is the question. I thought it's a fascinating question, and again, it's something which can be relevant. We don't normally do this, but before I carry on and share with you what Rav Yaakov Ariel has to say, any thoughts on which one would be better? What would be preferable?
What you need, they are right. So the rest of the stuff is good to run where you go to the wider one.
Okay, so David says 9 is only what you need to write. So that's true. That 9 is that. Oh, it's correct that 9 is what you need to write. But so where do we get 30 from? Why do we insist on blowing 30? Because we have a safek, because we're not sure what those 9 are. We're not sure. We discussed last week. Won't get into the whole detail again. But we're not sure what the trua is. The trua might be showing
over and over again for 3 stanzas. So you can do the same thing for 1. That means if you're making a mistake, you're repeating it twice more. So just settle for the 1.
No. You're not making a mistake. Again, where do we get from the Torah? You need 9 kolot. That everybody agrees. There's no machloket on that. Everybody also agrees that nowadays, turns to Takana of Rabbi Abau in Keisaria, which the Gemara tells us about. In order to fulfill those 9, you actually have to hear 30. Right? Why? Because the Torah says you need trua 3 times, But we don't know what a trua is. Trua might be what we call trua. It might be what we call shvarim. Might be what we call shvarim trua. So we do the 30, where we're not repeating the 913 times. We're doing different kolot, but to get to that 30, that's the minimum. That's the minimum fulfillment of the mitzvah. Yeah.
Well, isn't that the classical case of do what you can do now, right, and worry about what's going to happen later?
Do what you can do now, right, and worry about what's going to happen later.
In many questions, not lovely. You hold that.
Maybe that might be the answer. Okay. You say 30. You can say 30. Anybody else say 9? Say go around to.
Anyway,
Okay.
remember, for a long board, the next board or two can hear it as well.
Okay, so the truth is that's an interesting point. If you said from one ward, the other wards can hear. Maybe depending on how the hospital is configured, if you're outside the room and if you're in an echo, and there's also again maybe that. Yeah, we assume that in one ward you're not going to be able to hear the other ward. That's it's a big hospital. Well, I had something. So we have Rav Eigon. So last week, so this is the first part of the tshuva, very, very interesting. And he goes through a number of different questions, a number of different factors. It's always fascinating to see with these kind of with any tshuva, where you bring a precedent. We're going to Hilchot Shofar, we're going to get to Hilchot Shabbat, we're going to get to Hilchot Pesach, we're going to get to all sorts of fascinating areas. But the first place to look is in Hilchot Shofar. That would be the obvious place to look for the question about Hilchot Shofar. And as we said last week, everything we said until now, that you have 9, but in order to have the 9, you really need 30 because it's a safek, because we're not sure which is the real trua, so to speak. That's all correct. That's if you read the Rambam. And if you read the Beit Yosef, the way that he seems to read the Rambam. But there is an alternate view in the Rishonim, which is Rav Hai Gaon, I mentioned last week. Rav Hai Gaon says there was no safek to begin with. Why did Rabbi Abahu in Caesarea come along and make this decree? Because we wanted everybody to be doing the same thing. On Rosh Hashanah, we want it to be uniform. But actually, it's not that we don't know, says Rav Hai Gaon. It's not that we have a safek, which is the real trua. All of them are the real trua. If you did trua, you're Yotzei Yedei Chovah. You did shvarim trua, you're Yotzei Yedei Chovah. You did shvarim, you're Yotzei Yedei Chovah. Therefore, all of them. So it would seem that's the first place to start. And that's the first part of the tshuva. If we hold like the Rambam, and if we accept the Rambam is correct, then we have a problem. Then it's not sure. We have what should we do? Should we do 9s, only a safek, should we do 30, etc. But according to Rav Hai Gaon, and this would be what David said before, right? If we say according to Rav Hai Gaon, then actually those limited 9 or 10, again, why do we say 9 or 10? Because it's always 9, but if we say, maybe 12, right? Because of Shvarim Trua, if we do that minimum unit, according to Rav Hai Gaon, you have definitely fulfilled the mitzvah, the oraita. So that's the first part. So it would seem that the answer to our question is Machloket, Rambam and Rav Hai Gaon. According to Rambam, maybe we would say, make sure you do the 30, get to who you can get to. Don't worry about the rest later. But if you've done less than 30, you've not fulfilled the mitzvah at all. According to Rav Hai Gaon, if you've done less than 30, you've done 9 or 10 or 12, you've fulfilled the mitzvah. So better to do that. It's definitely fulfilling the mitzvah for more people. Nobody relies on Rav Hai Gaon. Look at Chila. As he said, this is a shatat chak. This is an extenuating circumstance. And therefore, based on that, you could. Now, you could argue, I didn't see it here in this tshuva, but you could argue that once the Gemara made a takana, and once Rabbi Abahu said, everywhere you have to blow the 30, then even Rav Hai Gaon would say, okay, nowadays, even according to my opinion, you still have to hear the 30, and there's still not necessarily a value in doing 10. Okay, you could argue that, but that's not necessarily. Okay, so that is one stage. So see, based from Machloket Rambam and Rav Hai Gaon. So, but now, even according to the Rambam and the other Rishonim that we accept, there is still more to talk about over here. And the next source that Rav Ariel brings us as a precedent is an interesting case in Hilchot Pesach. We've mentioned this before in a different context. I'll just mention it and we'll leave it there for today. But the case is as follows. What happens if you're in a place, there are 2 people who only have 1 kazayit of matzah between them? Not talking about a shir chazonesh. They only have 1 kazayit of matzah between them. What do? Do we say that Reuven gets to eat the matzah? Or do we say that Shimon gets to eat the matzah? Or do we say that Reuven and Shimon each get to eat half a kazayit? Right? So one side would be to say, well, they've got it. Each one should have, maybe we would say we would split it. The Sharei Tshuva if she brings this case, and he says, no, because first of all, one of them does. You only have one kazait. The mitzvah on Pesach is to eat a kazait of matzah. You eat less than a kazait, you've not fulfilled the mitzvah. So it doesn't make sense to split it up. It's like the case for Rabbi Akiva in the desert. You have one bottle of water, right? Rabbi Akiva says, Chayecha kudmin. You split up the bottle. Each person gets half. They'll both die. So here, we don't want them both to virtually lose that. At least one of them should have it. And he says that the zchut, the merit for the one who doesn't have the matzah, will have the merit of letting the other person fulfill the mitzvah at least. That's what? Okay, honest. We can get into honest. Now, all of this is as well. This is in a case where we're dealing with I don't know who the matzah belongs to or whatever. If the matzah belongs to one or the other, so then he gets it. But there is a question that's raised here, but the Stei Chemed, who says based on the Chidah, and he says, wait a minute, not so straightforward that one of them gets the kazait. He says, who's to say that there's no value in having half? We have a principle of chatzi shiur. We say chatzi shiur asur min Torah. When it comes to a prohibition, if you have less than the minimum measurement, let's say forbidden foods eating, which is a kazait or whatever, if you eat half a kazait, you're not liable for the punishment, but it's still asur min Torah. That's how we baskin. So maybe there's a concept of chatzi shiur when it comes to mitzvot. Maybe there's a value for each of them. Obviously, you want to have the whole shiur. You want to fulfill the mitzvah properly, but that you aren't able to. That's not the situation. You only have one kazait. So if there's a value in splitting it up and each one gets a chatzi shiur, then maybe there's what to talk about. And then the question becomes, is there a value in only hearing 9 of the tkiyot out of 30? Is that a chatzi shiur? Is that something else? Okay. Ad kan for today.